Absolute Bane is absolutely huge. Somebody's trying to kill Spawn, and Doom just might be the answer to saving the world. All that on today's review desk. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the review desk. I'm back sooner than I expected with episode 2 because you guys really loved episode 1. So this is my new show where I take a few recently released single issues and I give you my thoughts on them in quick succession. So because it's been 2 weeks since I came to you guys, we're doing kind of a double-sized show today. I got 5 books we're going to talk about today, and I'm going to start with the only book I'm going to review for this week of new comics. And so this one is also the only book I don't have in front of me, and it is a brand new series debut from Image Comics and Todd McFarlane Productions. This is Bloodletter, issue number 1. This is written by Joe Illidge and Tim Seeley. It's got art by Christian Rosado with colors by DC Alonso. I think AndWorld does the lettering, but this book was actually a really solid debut. I enjoyed it a lot. So Bloodletter follows Tasha Thornwall, who, you learn a little bit about in a couple of different glimpses from different periods of her life. But the main thing you need to know, and you probably already know from the series teases, is that she is out for revenge. She is on a revenge mission, and her sole mission is to kill her mortal enemy, or perhaps immortal enemy, in Spawn, Al Simmons. So she's a figure that is familiar to Al from his past, although we're meeting her for the first time. And she's out for revenge all summer 2025. So, but basically what we know about her is really kind of shrouded in mystery. She is this mysterious, super epic looking black lady with a cool like trench coat cape type thing and like this sigil on it. And what we learn over the course of the series or the issue is that she's got all of these like mystical powers, and the mystical powers are like fueled by these tattoos that she has. As she unlocks a new power, she gets a new tattoo, like a badge, like a Girl Scout badge or something. And so we see her in a couple of instances using her power. So as we meet her, she's like liberating captive slaves from Haiti. And well, not from Haiti. Well, we see her in 2 locations. We see her in South Africa and we see her in Haiti. And so she's liberating these Haitian slaves at one point. And, we're thinking that she's out like on a good mission. Like she's, of course, the series protagonist, but is she a good guy, a bad guy? And quite honestly, her morals are a little bit cloudy. We don't know fully because we think she's going to like save these people. And it seems like she's actually just going to deliver them to a different type of destruction, all while getting her revenge against this antagonist known as Miss Sugar, who looks like a cross between Marilyn Monroe and like Joan Rivers. And so we see that. And then we see another flashback in Haiti. So Cape Town is where the beginning of it was. So we see another flashback to a sort of special ops mission that she had been on. And that's where we find out the connection that she has with Al Simmons. And that kind of takes us back to today. We know she's got these mysterious powers. We know that like there is something mystical about it that also kind of ties in with like some occult stuff. Like she can cast demons into like the 3rd realm of hell and stuff like that. But this series, I feel like raised a lot more questions than it answered, which I guess is the point of a series debut. You're supposed to be intrigued. My concern though is like by the time I understand how her powers work and just who she is, what she's got going on, the series will be over and we'll have learned all this cool stuff about her for, just that one story. So it feels like a lot of world building for just a 5-issue miniseries, but it was really good. So I can't complain about it. I would give this kind of jumped to like 8 out of 10 territory because the art by Christian Rosado and colors by DC Alonso work together just really well to make this feel really cinematic. I really just love how the the ink and like you can see the brush strokes and everything. Like the art is just really well done, well textured. Like this is going to be a great hardcover whenever it's all collected, but don't put the cart before the horse. We still got 4 issues left. Bloodletter 1 of 5, a great read. And now let's kind of transition to the books that I have in front of me. So we're going to start off with Absolute Batman issue 9. Absolute Batman number 9. This is the debut of Absolute Bane. And Absolute Bane is like an absolute freaking Hulk. That dude is huge. So just, I picked this one because it's a new jumping on point. It's a fresh story. So if you haven't been reading Absolute Batman, you can kind of jump in here, though I'd still recommend reading volume 1. But this kind of picks up where one of Bruce's friends is missing. I won't tell you who, but one of Bruce's friends is missing. And so he's kind of gotten his Bat family together, Bat family, if you will. He's gotten them together to sort of say like, hey, are you in or out? We're going to go on this rescue mission to figure out where our missing friend is. And what he learns over the course of the issue is that the rabbit hole goes a lot deeper than you might anticipate or he could have been ready for. We're getting this issue narrated by Alfred Pennyworth in his sort of journal entries as usual. And we're learning that Alfred knows more about this world than he's letting on. But for whatever reason, he's kind of letting Bruce just kind of explore further and find out for himself. So that's interesting. And then, of course, that puts him on the collision course with this Absolute Universe version of Bane. And we meet Bane in a situation that's like kind of political in nature. And it really just kind of goes to show just how powerful Bane is. It's not just that he's big and hulking and menacing and strong, but there's some strategy there. And whether he's working for someone or not, he's manipulating some strings behind the scenes that are going to make this conspiracy huge. What I like about this issue is Absolute Batman has been like the sort of big action set pieces, like action-packed issues. Like, this is like the book that like teenagers would be like, oh man, did you see what happened in this issue? Right? Teenagers and grown people, right? But I really like the role that Alfred Pennyworth plays in kind of keeping an emotional core at the center of the series and letting us have something kind of human to grasp onto even among these big action set pieces. It kind of keeps it grounded and keeps it from being like, I don't know, the third act of an MCU film. So all in all, I thought that was really, really cool. Only critique is for as much as they hyped up this issue and this appearance of Absolute Bane, he barely interacts with Batman in this issue until like the last few pages. So there you go. Still, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. Next up, we are still in the DC universe with Action Comics issue 1087. This is written by Mark Waid with art by Skylar Patridge. I really, really enjoyed this. It's got colors by Ivan Placencia, by the way. But Action Comics issue 1087, a brand new story arc, new jumping on point for new readers. And it's part of the Summer of Superman. It's all Superman all summer over at DC. And what we get is a sort of flashback story into Clark's childhood or like teenage years. You know, I've not read many issues of, or I don't think I've read any stories where Clark Kent is Superboy instead of Superman. But my head canon, my understanding of that is that Clark kind of tries out being super in Smallville, like kind of small scale type things, and then makes his debut as Superman much later. So when the general public meets him, he's Superman. Well, this kind of plays with that idea and says, no, Clark actually came to Metropolis as Superboy or had an adventure as Superboy long before he became Superman. What I liked about this, though, is like we're getting more glimpses of like how Clark was raised. It's, you know, he's trying to go, they're going on this family trip to what might as well be like Epcot at Walt Disney World, right? Like it's this cool, like, vision of tomorrow type place. You're looking at like space age stuff and, you know, all the things that like fascinate a young kid at that age. And in the meantime, Clark's powers are just coming in. They're just starting to manifest. And his parents, Ma and Pa Kent, are doing their best to kind of rein him in and manage that and give him a space to sort of hone in on those skills and not be like afraid of them. It's kind of like helping your child go through puberty in a way. And so seeing the conversations that they're having, like Clark realizes that he's more powerful than most people, realizes that he could help if he really wanted to. And, John and Martha are like, hold on, let's just chill out. You'll have your chance, because once you open this bottle, there's no putting the genie back in. And so there was a really interesting tension in the issue. And then, of course, calamity strikes and Clark has to jump into action. So what does that mean for his future? And how is that going to play in with what we already know about when he makes his debut? I don't know, but shoot, color me intrigued. I really like this issue, like the story of it, but I love the art by Skylar Patridge. And then the colors just really kind of take it over the top. If Absolute Batman is always like dark and brooding and like moody, even when they do their flashback sequences, you'll see like they crush the blacks and lower the highlights and stuff like that. So it's a really moody tone all throughout. And this book is like the exact opposite. It's bright, it's cheerful, it's hopeful, and it's fun. Like it feels like summertime is what Action Comics feels like with this art and coloring. So huge props to the art team on that. And shout out to Mark Waid for telling a very intriguing story. I'm ready for the next issue. I gave this one a 9 out of 10. This is probably my highest. Yeah, this is my highest rated issue from this week of comics. And now we can jump over into the Marvel Universe with The Death of the Silver Surfer, issue number 1. This is written by Greg Pak with art by Sumit Kumar. And this was a really interesting issue. Now, I'm not a big cosmic or like sci-fi reader. It's just, I don't know, once we start introducing one too many alien species, my eyes glaze over. I have a hard time keeping up with who's who, what they want, what are their motivations. And I've not read a ton of Silver Surfer stories. And so while I came into this one with an open mind, I was kind of like expecting not to really like it much because it's not in my wheelhouse. Well, I actually enjoyed it quite a bit. I think for what I really wanted from this was to understand who the Silver Surfer is a little bit better. And I think Greg Pak lays it out really well in the opening pages. Silver Surfer is basically a being formed to be an instrument of war, but at his core, he's a pacifist. And so he's going around the galaxy seeing like all this death and destruction, not just at the hands of, Galactus, but at the hands of like, the life forms on those planets. He's watching people kill each other in wars and all this other stuff going on. And so he's very like just sad at the state of the world and like trying to figure out like what he can do to fix it, to impact it, change it for the better. And so we see him in this moment, like basically rescue like some sort of a soldier who had already killed someone. And so he saves him and he's like, hey, I'm saving you, but you need to, next time you're in a position to help someone, you need to help them. Like, and so that kind of tells us right off the bat who the Silver Surfer is, what his ideals are, and how we should feel about him. And then we kind of get thrust into what the conflict in this issue is going to be. So we meet this brand new character. Her name is Kelly Coe, and she works for the BAN, which does not mean maybe what you think it means. It stands for the Bureau of Alien Naturalization. So she's basically like, it's like Star Wars, or like Buzz Lightyear meets Men in Black. It's kind of like the role she plays. She's in like this big space armor, and she's out to like take out these extraterrestrial threats. And what we learn is that an evil corporation has purchased the Bureau. And so now what we are finding is that there are people fear-mongering and setting up these events to make people afraid of aliens so that they can profit off of the fears, the divisiveness, and stuff like that in whatever ways possible, right? And so Kelly's kind of, her mission, she's given the mission to kill the Silver Surfer since he's an alien that kind of meddles in affairs. And there's also an interesting conversation that kind of brought it home with featuring the Fantastic Four, because there's a point where there's an opportunity to do something and like the person that saves the day is not the Fantastic Four, and they explain why that's the case. And so there were a lot of like moments in this book that I thought were really cool, really human, and I really enjoyed. I guess if I had a critique of this issue is that it felt like a series of moments as opposed to like a full story coming together. But hey, they intrigued me enough to get to issue 2, and I think that'll come together a lot more as the miniseries goes on. So Death of the Silver Surfer, I gave it a 7 out of 10, but it was really good. And the last book we're talking about today, still in the Marvel Universe, is One World Under Doom, issue number 5. This is written by Ryan North, who is also writing Fantastic Four right now. It's got art by R.B. Silva, and I really enjoyed this issue. Now, you guys, if you're following me, you know that I've been kind of up and down on this. Like, while I've enjoyed the series, it's been enjoyable. In some ways, it's been difficult for me, like reconciling how I feel about this book with the fact that it brings up like all these terrible memories of like the current administration and stuff like that, like all the stuff going on in politics in the news. And I'm like, I'd rather not deal with that. I get to this comic and it kind of reminds me of that same stuff. And so I'm up and down. I have a love and hate relationship with this book. This issue, I feel like, was the first issue that I loved. So if you're not following the story so far, I'm going to spoil it a little bit for you. But if you read the Blood Hunt event last summer, then you'll know that kind of in the finale of that, Doom was given the power of the Sorcerer Supreme. And it was supposed to be temporary, but of course, Doom is Doom and found a loophole and is still running around as a Sorcerer Supreme. So this series is about how Doom kind of takes over the world and brings everyone under his submission. And what we have found so far is that Doom didn't do anything underhanded to curry the favor of all the citizens of the world. He just kind of gave them what they wanted. He played into their natural fears of other people, other things going on, kind of stoked their political anxieties and stuff like that, but then also mounted quite the PR campaign. It was like every time the Avengers or the Fantastic Four or anyone tried to like be like, hey, you're evil and we're going to prove to the world that you're evil, it backfired. And so his approval rating has only gone up as the series has gone on. And so in the last issue, there was a conflict between Doom and Dormammu, and Doom's kind of back was against the ropes, it seemed, until we find that basically the Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, all are going to team up with Doom to fight Dormammu. And that's exactly what happens in this issue. They all are fighting together. But the perception of this event is not that they're fighting together. It's that all of our, superheroes are fighting under Doom. And again, this whole thing kind of just serves to boost the profile of Dr. Doom. And so after the conflict of the issue is over with Dormammu, the Avengers are having this like kind of existential crisis, because it's like, this just made Doom even more well loved, and we know he's going to do something bad. Like, this is we can't go for this. We can't stand for this. And Thor speaks up and is like, what's so wrong with having a king? Like, Doom hasn't done anything bad. We're only even having this conversation because he did something amazing. My father was a king. He wasn't evil, right? Like, maybe it's good to have a king. And the conversation among the Avengers was so good that I didn't even care that I had just heard about the No Kings protest 3 days ago, right? Like, again, this series unfortunately parallels a lot of real life, but I felt like this issue was the first one that made me forget about real life and just unplug and watch the Avengers have a conflict. And by the way, this felt like those conflict moments that we get in something like Civil War, like the moments that make the big action set pieces worth it in the MCU, is what this issue felt like. It definitely felt like the climax of the event. And hey, I really liked it. The only critique I have of this is that, we got it teased. Like, we found that someone knows just what Doom has done to and where the evil part of Doom's plan actually is. And so we're going to see that and see the final confrontation, but we're not getting that issue for another 2 months. So that's my critique, that we're going to wait 2 months for the rest of it. But I really like this. The art is good. It reminds me a little bit of Civil War, just RB Silva's art style matched with the colors. Who does the colors on this? Curiel. I'm not sure what Curiel's first name is, but yeah, I like the colors on this. I like how the art served the story, and it finally feels cinematic and like otherworldly and a pretty good event, quite honestly. So One World Under Doom issue 5, I'm giving an 8.5 out of 10. And that's it. Those are all the reviews that hit my desk this week. Next time we'll do some issues that are a little bit more current, but I've been busy getting ready for Heroes Con. I haven't made it to the shop this week. And so there you have it. Speaking of Heroes Con, it is coming up tomorrow as I'm filming this. So come see me Saturday at 4:30 in the room number that's on the screen. I'm doing a joint podcast live taping with my man Botter of the Short Box. We got some fun conversation planned and some, fun surprises for you as well. So I'll see you at Heroes Con, and for everybody else, I'll see you in the next video soon. Until then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.